Go ahead, John.
Greeting gamers, welcome to the Couch Co-op Podcast, here to bring you the latest and greatest in video game news, reviews, and ridiculousness. From the classics to the cutting edge, we've got our thumbs on the pulse of the gaming world. On tonight's show, we have our resident beer expert, Beerstro, who's always on the hunt for the perfect brew to pair with our gaming sessions. Will he find his match today? We'll find out with the reigning champ and out-of-date Waldo. Plus, we've got first impressions of the game Redfall, featuring all the vampire slaying action you could want. But our main topic today is all about the rise of AI in gaming. Is it a game changer or a game ender? We'll debate the pros and cons and maybe even throw in some robot jokes along the way. So sit back, relax, and get ready to power up! The Couch Co-op Podcast is about to begin.
Nice.
Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.
Hello, Couch Co-opers, Couch Potatoes, and Couch Co-dependents. This is the Couch Co-op Show. I'm Ian. I got Jared, Nick, Dave, Aaron, and JPK here on the couch tonight. How's it going, boys?
Doing good. How are you,
until
Ian?
you reached maximum screech volume.
Maximum
right?
Yeah, that poor old Discord filter cut most of that out. So
Squeeze.
nice try.
Thank God for the high pass filter.
Any higher a screech, it will only hurt by dogs.
Find us on all the social media platforms at Couch Co-op Shows. All one word.
No hyphen.
Yeah, baby.
Nailed it, Aaron.
You can find our podcast on all the major platforms. If you want to watch our video, go over to youtube.com/milkmanpictures. You will find the video of this podcast where you can watch us and all our sexiness, because we do sexy things all the time. Look at Jared just drinking that beer sexy right now.
Hey, it's good stuff.
Turns me
It's
on.
nice beer.
Yeah, yeah.
First time knowing this.
We also stream our podcast live on twitch.tv/the Couch Co-op Shows. Every Sunday night at 9 o'clock. Pretty much close to 9 o'clock. We're a little late tonight
9
because
o'clock
we
for the
were
win.
we were fucking around a bit, so we started a little late tonight. But yeah, twitch.tv/the Couch Co-op Shows. And if you ever wanted to interact with us, you can just jump into chat, ask us some questions, and I will do my best to look over once in a while and see, oh shit, there's a question, and talk about it in the chat. What else do we do? I don't know what we do. We do some shit. We talk about. We say some shit. We do some stuff.
We play the game so you don't have to.
Yeah, well, you're lucky tonight because we played them and you don't have to. How's it going tonight, guys?
Yeah,
Mm.
good.
Yeah.
It's been a week.
It's been a
Oh,
week
yeah.
indeed. It's been
Been a week and a half. Ooh,
Been a week.
yikes. Definitely been a week. Aye.
Well,
Alright.
let's kick it off with Lord Beerstro's battle.
Discord cut you off again, bro. You gotta
Yeah,
tone
man.
yourself
Discord
down a
filter.
bit. How
I
about you do
don't
a
want
redo
Beerstro
on
and
that?
that
I
was
don't
it?
want to. I don't want to. You heard it. Everyone heard it on my.
Nobody heard it.
Everyone heard it on
No.
my end because
No.
my end's not cutting it off.
That's funny.
Cut it
So
off
you
for
guys,
me, but
you guys are lucky that you got cut off. But
I was looking more at Jared as a co-star.
Yeah,
second.
I was invaded.
Lord Beerstro's battle. What's fighting tonight? In this corner.
Well, I'm bringing back last week's winner,
Oh,
the
Beerstro won. That was
2021. I mean, basically, I'm basically bringing a jobber out against this, just because it's basically what I had in the fridge. But we've got the 2021 Waldo versus Ecliptic's Ice Giant Cold IPA.
I haven't had that
I've
one.
never had.
That's John's beer.
Yeah, I've never had this one before, but
I have
I'm
a
just.
I
I
have a
love
going
how
by
it's
date.
seasonal still, all the way towards pre-summer.
I have a question about some of this shit.
Beer
Like,
does last a while.
so like, should the newbie beer go first? Like, what are the dynamics in this?
That is a good question.
We've been like
or should
we've
the
been
lower
thinking.
alcohol low hopper go first?
Should
'Cause,
the wasn't still the Ice Giant the low hopper at this case?
Maybe
on-
the
in this
new
case,
contender
yes,
should be
but,
first because we already know his
Yeah.
thoughts on the prior beer.
Yes.
We do.
So yeah, go for the new one
Yeah.
first is what I say.
Yeah.
Newbie gets his first shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
newbie gets the first punch.
I had this other thought the other day. Is like, I mean, here's the problem: is like he only has one of the Ice Giants, but it's like he should only drink those 2 beers during the show.
Just
Oh,
5
man.
of each.
Yeah, just
Oh,
like
jeez.
that's all he should be drinking. So he really understands the beers. But then it reminds me that like some of those beers he only has one of, like the Ice Giant, like he doesn't have. more
Yeah,
than
sometimes they're going to be special beers, aren't they? That you
one. Right.
Yes.
don't have a
Special
full
slash hard to
six-pack.
find, or
But if one keeps winning, and then he runs out and you can't get it, I mean, I guess we have to end the
We
series
have
and
a new
start fresh.
winner.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, then we just
champions
well,
retire.
You retire it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we can do Jeopardy rules, and just
Well, here's another thing. Yeah, like the Waldo. I mean, after a month, I mean, we could just decide like, oh, let's just retire it. If it's just beating, like he just doesn't want to drink anymore, he's just be like, I just want to retire this beer, and it's like, and then we
move
can
on to
always bring
something
it
else.
back, and we can do a championship edition where like Waldo versus whatever. So like
Yeah, the next
listen, guys,
Fest of 4 gets played.
sky's the limit.
Let it age one more year.
Yeah.
I think these are fresh new ones though, right?
The Ice Giant is.
No, but the Waldo, he bought a new 6-pack of Waldo, didn't you?
I thought it was
no. This is still the
2020.
2021.
Yeah, but didn't you buy a new 6-pack of Waldo?
Yes, I have a current version too.
I
They
almost
made a
bought
current version? I thought they only
yeah.
made one time.
No, I've seen it.
Oh, no,
recently.
they've made it.
annually.
It comes out, annually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Around this
I thought
time
for
of
some
year?
reason.
Yeah, it's usually
Yeah.
around.
I saw
Okay.
the Waldo at Total Wine.
Okay,
Oh.
good to know.
My Thriftway has it too.
I used to
or
always
I
pick
had
up
it.
Lagunitas because I always liked their beers, and they're pretty good at making imperial stouts and strong.
Dino saucers. Diddle-doo. All right. We need to talk about Redfall. Hey guys. Hey everyone. Get together. We need to talk about Redfall.
Is this an
I
intervention
played a little bit of it.
for Arcane?
Yeah, everyone. Hey, let's
So-
gather around. Let's talk about this as a group of gamers who love video games.
I would like to start by saying I've never completed an Arcane game because I don't like how their games feel.
What?
I don't like the camera controls, and it just feels a little rough.
That's bullshit.
Never
Because
liked it.
Redfall feels like any other game at this point.
It feels
what do you
like
mean by
Arcane's
camera
controls.
No, it doesn't. It feels like border. It feels like anything. I disagree with
Oh,
that
boy.
100%, Jared. You.
Something about it
No,
feels a little,
I disagree.
little off.
What are you playing it on?
PS5. Well, not I mean, my Xbox, of course.
PS5.
Yeah,
Clearly-
PS5.
You
No,
clearly,
I
you
have
clearly didn't play it then.
I have my Xbox. I've been playing on my Xbox a lot.
No,
lately.
I get it. I
Your
get
sex
Wow.
box wasn't sexy enough
it.
with Redfall.
So, well, how much did you play, Jared? How much did you play of it?
I only played through like the first boss.
Oh wow.
Is about it. Yeah, so not very long. Maybe about an hour, hour and a half, something like that.
Okay.
Would you play more?
Yeah. I think I'll jump back in eventually. But I'm working on a different title right now on
Okay.
my Xbox.
So
So not
he's
not
basically not gonna play it
terrible enough
anymore.
that you're not gonna like cut it
It's
off.
on my system still. I didn't delete it right away.
He hasn't deleted it, but he's not going to play anymore. I mean, he's in that mode where he would play more, but something else is going to come along, so he's not going to play more. Basically, is what's
Yeah,
gonna happen.
next month, Final Fantasy 16 will take my money and time.
I'm actually in the same boat. I actually played. I'm 4 to 5 hours. I
Good.
played in it,
Okay.
maybe 6.
Fair enough.
But I probably won't. I'll probably not play anymore. I played for this episode. I played it to kind of talk about it.
I feel like 4 or 5 hours for any game should be enough to either pull you in and you're like, okay,
Right.
I'm
Well-
in for this, or even like enough to say, okay, I'm going to finish it to the end, even if you're not totally enjoying it.
Well, I have the
kinda.
luck. If I had bought it, I'd clearly be playing it because like I bought it,
Yeah.
I'd play it. Thankfully, Jared
Right.
gave me a free 14-day membership to Game Pass,
Yeah,
and I was
that's a new
Nice.
thing that Xbox is doing. I can give any of you guys like a trial the PC Game Pass
So you can
Ultimate.
inflict Redfall on us.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
any
How much
game,
do they
any
give out a
game,
month?
you can
Yeah.
inflict
Or
Game Pass
how
on
does that
people.
work?
I know, I'm just kidding.
I just need to email
But
it
I
to you.
but they basically inflicted it because of Redfall,
Hmm.
and it allows you to play with people.
Okay.
Jared and I didn't play together, but
Mhm.
I was able to install it and play it, and I don't think it's an awful game. First of all, there's a lot of hate. I mean, this game is getting fucking shredded right now, man. I think it's 63, 62 Metacritic.
Wow.
People just fucking trashing it. And I get it. I get why, because like it was being coined as like the Xbox exclusive savior. Like finally, after
Yeah,
three
AAA.
three
this
and a
is
half
how games are
years,
made.
after three
Oh,
and a half
wow.
years, we're finally gonna have this game that's gonna come in and just be a fucking titan. But like, this game isn't a titan. This game was never a titan, and I just feel like Microsoft marketed this thing, and just this is like in the same league as like, I mean, Hi-Fi Rush is like a AA game that got super high like reviews, but I feel like Redfall is in that same kind of like indie AA category. It's like it's a solid game.
Damn.
It's fun. It's like playing Borderlands 1. It's
That's not
Borderlands
bad.
1.
Yeah, it's just
They just
loot
hyped it
and
up too
shoot.
much.
I just feel like they hyped it up, and then people are hungry. Xbox fans are hungry for an exclusive title that competes against Sony. But
That's tough.
what
So-
game is going to compete against God of War or Last of Us 2 or whatever?
Halo 5.
Yeah, that's
Halo
A lot
6.
of the
Halo
hate
7.
came from
Halo
like
failed. Halo Infinite failed,
Yeah.
John. Halo
Yeah,
is
so
a
bad.
fucking failure. Those guys are not making games. That whole studio shuttered. Those guys are done. Halo, you won't see
Game
Halo
over.
for like 6 years probably.
Well, I think the
Right.
other thing about this game though is they were trying to launch a new IP as well that was exclusive to, the Xbox. It's
Yeah,
not
but
like
but that's fine. That's one thing, Dave. But like Arcane is not shy about launching new IPs.
no.
I mean, if you're an Arcane fan, you had Dishonored 1, 2, and then the 2.5 title. They launched the
Yeah.
Prey. The new Prey was a new IP. I mean, it's Prey, but it was different. And then Deathloop is also theirs, which is also a Game of the Year title. So like, Arcane is a fucking AAA studio.
Mhm.
I don't know. I played Deathloop.
I know you didn't like it. That's fine, but like,
I still haven't popped your
there's
disc
a
into my
shitload of
PS5.
people
fine.
that love that game, and
Oh, again, I would say from what you've said about Redfall, Deathloop, I felt the same way about. It wasn't a bad game. It had its moments and I quite enjoyed it, but I don't know, maybe it was like Jared was saying, it just never really quite clicked with me. And
Well,
maybe
no-
I just wasn't
okay,
in the
so
mood for it
that's-
at the time. I should
that's.
kinda go.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but like, I feel like Deathloop has a thing going on, and the mechanic of the game actually has something going on in it. Redfall is
No, that's fair
literally there's nothing new. Like this is an Xbox
No,
360
bummer.
like open world first person shooter game. There's nothing really
and it's not like
new.
they cribbed the best bits from all the others and made something that's
no,
amazing.
There's just
They just
nothing.
cribbed
Like
the
Deathloop
average
has
bit.
this thing where you die and you like. There's like
Yeah.
a mechanic. There's like a
They're trying to do something new
right.
and interesting. I know what you mean.
There's nothing going on in Redfall that's new. Like,
Nothing memorable is what you're
and
saying. 'Cause,
then
like,
there's no,
Deathloop's memorable.
and then
but
you play the game. There's no like a AAA title usually has cutscenes. The cutscenes are just like still photos that they zoom in on with like text. Like it's like it really doesn't
gosh,
feel
it's-
like a AAA title. It just feels like this kind of
I'm trying to remember the last game I played that was like that. That had like, and it wasn't bad. It was just like single comic
Right.
book kind of shell
Deathloop.
with
Wasn't Deathloop like
maybe
that? with the
Deathloop was like that. I
Some
haven't played
of
Deathloop.
That
Destiny
was
2
kind of
does
like
that.
that, but there's
Well,
something
that's
else
sad
I
that
played
Destiny does that
recently.
now. That's sad that
Mm-hmm.
Destiny does that. I mean, I feel like
Not all of their cinematic.
I just
but
feel like
some
as
of
shit
them.
gets more expensive, maybe they're getting lazier and lazier. But like to like put that in comparison, I also, because I have Game Pass for the next 14 days or whatever, I downloaded Warhammer Darktide, which is also a fairly new game. I think it released in December or something. It's a co-op game, first person shooter. That whole thing, cutscene, fucking just way. It's not an open world, but it's just way more just interesting. The world is just way more. It's Warhammer.
It
Just
was
way
more
more
thought out
interesting.
and just kind of
The other thing
well
that's
done.
crazy about the two different games is like Redfall is like 95 gigs. Warhammer was 45 gigs. It's just like
Oh,
kind of
wow.
like what is going on here? Like why is this game I don't know. They're just anyway, I just feel like Redfall is fine. People are upset with it. That's fine. I feel like Microsoft screwed the pooch here. The problem with it is
So
that they shouldn't have marketed it as this AAA game. It's like a little indie, not an indie, but it's like a AA, like a spin-off title. We're just trying something new title. It should not have been marketed and pigeonholed as this like exclusive AAA build because it's not. It's just like a basic bitch
So
game.
Would you
man.
say it's kind of like a 6 or 7 out of 10, but because it was marketed as a 10 out of 10 game, it's getting like 5 out of 10, if you know what I mean?
I think basically, I think I would. I mean,
Like it's
at
getting
best
it's
right
getting
now,
judged more harshly than it would if
right,
they
100%,
hadn't made all the
100%. I think it's like a 62, 63 on Metacritic. I would give this a fair 7.
Yeah, if you and your buddy, if like all of us had it and we all played together, we'd have some fun. It wouldn't be a total.
So Dave, remember those times when we played Far Cry online together, and
Vaguely,
we
yeah.
learned that one person gets their progress saved.
Oh, right.
Yep.
That's that too.
This game is like that, but
Oh,
four
goodness.
player. Could you imagine finding 3 other people to play with
Wow.
where they can't progress their
Yeah.
storyline?
It's like, okay, so I put 10 hours in with you and I
but it
don't
doesn't.
get any.
None of it counts.
Your
none of it
character gets
goes to my-
upgraded, but your story does not.
Which seems stupid. Like they
progress.
should figure out a way to fix that. Like why is that a situation? So
Yeah.
like then you'll want to just play it by yourself because like why?
Mhm.
But like
But
the game's
everybody's
not
saying
fun.
you shouldn't.
You shouldn't play it by yourself.
Yeah.
The game is kind
That's
of.
not how it's meant to be fun.
Yeah.
It looks
And,
okay.
because
a
Borderlands
lot of
manages to
people
do
are
that okay, doesn't it?
griping. A lot of people are griping about the game because in the original ads and when they first started pushing, it was supposed to be 60 frames per second, but consoles can't do that.
Thankfully, I'm playing on PC, so I don't have
Yeah.
that issue.
Yeah, so people are whining about that. I thought it ran fine at 30 frames per second because it's not like the last couple generations where 30 frames per second just seemed choppy and gross.
I mean, I'm still
it's
having
pretty smooth.
I'm still having some stuttering issues here and there with things.
I hate
Does
to
the
say it,
gameplay-
but sometimes you expect that now from modern games. It's
Yeah.
like some of them do
Does
come
the
out a little-
gameplay feel similar to Deathloop in terms of like the gunplay and all that stuff?
No,
I didn't play.
I didn't play
Deathloop.
Deathloop, but like in my other experiences with Dishonored games, I feel like the gunplay is actually tighter. Like in like Dishonored 1, 2, and the other ones, and even in Prey, I feel like it's a little loose. I feel like it's a bit tighter here, and it's more forgiving. So it's more fun. And then but Arcane is known for powers. At least I know. Like the Arcane I know, like Dishonored, like the powers, like you use blink all the time. You blink around. And I feel like the powers have been so like just hamstrung, you know? It's just like, and they're just like so weak and basic. And it really feels like Borderlands, where like I'm playing like a character that's basically the siren. So I have like this hold and push, I have this levitate, and I have like this like it's called my ex-boyfriend, and like it conjures up an ex-boyfriend that fights. But they're just so basic powers, and it's like I always felt
Yeah,
like
so there's
Arcane
nothing
was just
really-
always known for like the cool powers that your characters would do, and this just seems so forgettable.
So there's nothing that really stands out on the control
Rough.
side. And then how's the story? Is there any story?
I mean, yeah, there's a story, but it's not.
It's real basic.
It's not.
It's like
I mean, Deathloop's
vampires
story.
invaded town.
I
And
mean, I feel
then-
like Deathloop's story was pretty interesting, and Dishonored. I really enjoyed Dishonored's story.
Actually, that was one of the best things for Deathloop for me. Was like the writing was actually pretty good.
and I think Prey's story was. I mean, I never finished Prey, but it's fine. It's so unimportant. All of it's unimportant. It just feels very, like honestly, it just feels like Borderlands 1.
It's a placeholder game.
Me Too game, way too late.
And so if
I was
it
going
was
to
like
say it hasn't
launched,
done anything
but,
inappropriate as a joke.
but if it was launched as this like budget title, like $39.99, it's like, hey, is this a group couch co-op title? Which I felt like it should have been. Like originally, I mean, this game was originally planned to. They were developing this for PlayStation, and then when Microsoft bought Bethesda, they came in there and said, hey, stop developing for this console, basically. And this game was kind of mostly done. So like Xbox was kind of hands off on it.
So
They
what you're
didn't-
saying is, thank you, Microsoft, so we don't have to play it.
Well, here's the other thing. I mean, even I just feel like Microsoft should never have like been like, hey, this is a flagship title. It's not a flagship title. It's a title.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising if it was mostly done that you wouldn't be able to see the flaws in it and be kind of like,
Well,
okay, we shouldn't maybe press so hard on this because it's not looking like it's going to be the next best, the next Mario 64 or Grand Theft
Well-
Auto or game that defines a generation.
this game just needed to go back through the think tank a little longer, and it just
Yeah.
when at the point at where it was mostly done and Microsoft bought it, they were like, well, we'll just push this out. And if you listen to Phil Spencer and his talk, a lot of the mock reviews that they got, that they thought this game was going to review higher. And maybe it would have if there were positive games ahead of it. I think
Yeah,
they
that's what I
probably.
feel
I
like
think
too.
because like he's like all our mock reviews were like they were like they were like double digits higher than this one, and I'm like, you know what? I bet they were too, but that would have required Microsoft to release better games ahead of this one. But if this is the game that everyone's like just frothing at the mouth for to like make Xbox important again, this is not the game, dude. You needed to bury this game. And you know what? That it probably would have been better. Like if you had buried this game and let them work on it and let it release after Starfield, and Starfield releases Bethesda, whatever, that game probably would have released it. I mean, that game is probably going to release way better. And then you release Redfall. Redfall probably would have been way more accepted better.
So you're
But I
basically
feel-
saying Redfall's a good game, but because it was hyped so much,
Yeah, I think it's
it's
a
scored badly,
release marketing
but it was never going to
mistake.
be a Grace game.
I think it's
a great
Microsoft.
game even.
I think Microsoft fucked up on this one. I think they just should have like not.
Apparently.
It should not have
Think-
been a release game.
It's them just using the name of a company to hype people.
Right,
is
and those
essentially
guys,
what
and I
that
think
was.
Arcane was just trying to do something new. They was like, oh, let's try something different. Let's make a
Mm-hmm.
co-op game, and like, but to like flagship this game is like Microsoft's comeback. It's like you guys are fucked, and that's Microsoft's fault. That's 100% Microsoft. So while everyone's shit talking Redfall and Arcane, I feel like it's all of it is fucking Phil Spencer and Microsoft's fault. This game could have been received better. So like I don't hate it. It's funnish, but it's never gonna survive. So
It's no Titanfall.
well, that's different. That's 100. That's a Dave. That's a totally different fucking discussion. What are you talking about?
Right.
You're talking about a great fucking game that got shit canned, like a
Yeah.
buried by a company. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's just
Does the
sick.
game feel disjointed to you, Ian? You kind of seemed like you were hinting at Arcane.
Yeah,
is
it's a
more-
little bit
more for the
disjointed. It
powers.
just the powers are kind of. I find the powers not relevant.
What's the? But what I've heard, I was watching different reviews about it, and they said It's just the impression I got the game as a whole is just mediocre.
Yeah, it's
Like,
it's a mediocre game. But I find
Yeah.
fun in it. Like I find the gunplay pretty good. It runs pretty solid. I like the loot. The amount of loot that happens drops pretty well. The AI is pretty garbage. So like when you fight a boss in the world, you can find ways to just get them stuck, and then in the world, and then just shoot them and like not worry about them. Like it's pretty easy to fuck them.
It's the sign of an unfinished game. So
Yeah,
I'll
it's
play
just-
it again when it's finished.
It's just, but it may never be finished.
Yeah.
I just
Hopefully
wish
they get the
I
support.
wish
to
the
keep it
powers
going.
had more thought and were more useful. They just, it's none of it is cohesive enough. And I think giving it a 7 is like too much, but I'm willing to forgive it a bit. I'm trying to be nice. Like everyone is hating. I'm like, I mean, I like Arcane, and I feel like they can do some cool shit. So I'm giving it a 7. But like, it's just, and I
You
haven't
almost-
and I haven't played it with people. It'd be fun to play it with people. But like the dialogue, like my character constantly says shit over and over again, and it's just like it's so basic. Like it's really just feels like a Xbox 360 era game. Like it just comes from that. It feels like that generation. It's funny that I don't know. It needed it. They just like pushed it out, and I wish
They
they
needed
hadn't.
a home run, and they didn't even hit it out past.
I don't
first
think it
base.
needed. I mean, Xbox needed a home
It was a
run.
foul ball.
Yeah.
I don't think this game was ever going to be a home run, and I just think they
True.
needed to hide it behind, like a home run game, and it'd be fine. I
Right.
just don't think this should have been a game that's like, hey, this is the game that's going to save Xbox. Like everyone was just thinking that, and that's not what it is. That's not what it is. But I think it's a fun game. It can be fun. I think it will be fun. I imagine Arcane will work on it for a while and rebuild it and get it working. I mean, it works. It doesn't not work. I mean, I don't know, but
Dishonored.
not
A Realm
optimized.
Reborn.
as well as it could be.
it's just, it'll be a budget title. That's the other thing.
It's Game Pass.
Game Pass. So like
There
Game
you
Pass.
go.
I mean, Xbox doesn't
Play
really
it.
care about the value of their games. So like this game's a $70 game that no one cares about, but they can play for free. And then Starfield's gonna come out. It's gonna be great, but no one cares about it, and is gonna get it for free, basically for $14.99. Like, I feel like this Game Pass thing can't last for very long because it's devaluing their games, and they're gonna have to pull their their key titles.
What's the
at some
regular
point.
price of Game Pass right now?
It's just $14.99.
Man, yeah. So you can sign up for it for 4 months and still pay less than if you just buy the game. And
hmm
if there's a game out there that you can't beat in 4 months, then I don't know what it is. Or people used to pay that for
Gamefly.
Well, here's the crazy
World
thing.
of
I mean,
Warcraft or whatever, didn't
like
they?
if a
Yeah,
game
yeah,
if a
yeah,
game
yeah,
sucks,
right.
if a game sucks, they've never really paid for it. And if
Yeah.
a game is great, they've also never paid for it.
Yeah.
There's just the devaluing of their game library. And I don't know and how long Game Pass, at least Sony realized the thing about Sony, and even gives them shit for like PlayStation Plus Extra or whatever. But the only reason that exists is because Sony values their games, and they're not gonna put God of War or Horizon at launch on that. They value
No.
their titles enough to know that like people are gonna pay
They
for
wait
them.
a while.
And then
PlayStation Plus games are usually at least
but we're not talking
a
about
year
people,
old.
But we're not talking about PlayStation. We're talking about their
No, I know,
exclusives.
but-
We're talking about like Gran Turismo 7 at some point will be on PlayStation Plus. But
It'll be a while.
Not-
Sure.
it'll be a while. Because like I think Gran Turismo Sport is on PlayStation Extra. You can play that through the streaming
Yeah.
service. But it's like they value their games enough that they believe in them enough that they're going to sell and support them, and then they'll put them out. And I feel like
And kind of
Microsoft
like movie
just
studios putting everything on streaming day one. It's like that doesn't-
Microsoft doesn't believe in their shit. They're like they're trying to win a war just by throwing shit everything out. Just like, and like I don't know how long they can do that. I don't know. And especially when shit's not doing well. Halo didn't work. Halo kind of failed. I mean, everything's kind of failing right now. So, like, even the games that they think should be winning, they're not winning. They're failing.
Well, Google tried it, didn't they, with Stadia and having Google Studios and all the rest of it?
But that was a little different though, because
It's
you
a little
still have
different.
you still have to buy the full price game. They didn't have it. I mean, they have a service, but like the new games were still full price.
I know, but they tried even then they tried making games and it just didn't work. It's like
why I pay for Game Pass is that it's the same cost per year as buying 3 brand new games.
Right.
And that's how I consider it. Like I would probably buy 3 brand new games for the Xbox if I didn't have Game Pass for the year. So I might as well just have Game Pass.
Yeah, if I had an Xbox, it makes perfect sense to get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
But here's the other thing on that.
So
all the
I'm
games
going to
day
play
one.
it.
I'm doing that. I'm also doing that for Sony.
Mm-hmm.
But those games are worth waiting for, so I'm willing to pay that to wait for those games. The new games on Xbox, they're not cutting it.
No.
Yeah, it's not like you're buying day one games and they're not good day one. It's like, yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we don't have to talk about this anymore. Nick, to
How's
win.
the Beerstro going?
Did you get through all the beers? Or are you still through? Are you still the first one?
I'm still working on the Waldo, but I've already completed the Ecliptic Brewing's Ice Giant.
How was
Wait,
it?
you're still working on the Waldo, but you finish. You're drinking them both at the same time. How's this working?
No. I drank one and made some thoughts about it, and
He's
then
on the second one
went
now.
over to
All right. How about your thoughts on the Ecliptic?
Well, they
Sounds
make
like
a
it's
nice
beer to me.
barley. They make a nice barley wine, but as far as a cold IPA, and I don't know, maybe it's just a sub style. I don't know if I've had a whole lot of cold IPAs in my life that I can recall, but there was just a little bit. Like I know a lot of IPAs just have a bitterness that comes with them. I mean, it's just part of the style. But there was like another flavor that kind of went with it that I didn't like that just kind of hung around.
I've yet to meet a cold IPA I ever liked because
I don't know.
basically
Okay.
it's a regular IPA fermented with lager
it's
yeast
just-
at lager temperatures, so it kind of has. It's meant to be really clean, but I've always found it lacked body and was just very bitter.
Yeah, and
I've tried
it was just kind of like I didn't like the bitterness to it. I mean, it's not a bad beer. I mean, if I had more than one, I'd drink the rest of them. But
Have you had enough of them
you'll-
both to make a decision now?
well, I already said that this Ecliptic Ice Giant's going to be jobbing to the Lagunitas,
Excellent. Test your might. Fight.
and it definitely is jobbing because Waldo's going to walk away with
The
this
Waldo's
one.
gonna win. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, you
kinda-
gonna do the fight thing where like the one like crushes the one and like.
Funny.
I can't do it with the camera, but
Oh,
there we go.
there we.
Oh, thank you,
kinda
Discord.
heartbreaking, isn't it?
I need to come up with some sound effects, I guess.
Yeah, start recording some.
But at the same time, I'm also kind of getting a little
Couch
tired
co-op.
of this Waldo too.
I bet you're getting tired of it.
You're waiting
You
for
got
something
4
to win.
more.
And kind of to pull back the curtain a little bit. Last week I'd actually drank the last one of my outdated one. So, well, I delivered Cheap Charlie's. They still had some of the 2021 available, so I went and bought another 4-pack of it.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Just so I could,
Yeah.
just so I could keep this up,
Keep it up.
keep the streak going.
That's awesome.
Do, 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 do. All right.
But
That's dedication.
I'll tell you what. So a little bit of foreshadowing. So next week's gonna be fun because
Foreshadowing.
or I guess promoting, whatever you want to do, whatever you want
Just
to
a
call
little
it.
bit of foreskinning.
That's getting incredibly close to docking.
Oh, goodness.
Aaron.
Yeah. Anyway,
Docking. Nah.
yeah, I'm so glad I missed the docking.
The docking
Stage of the
era.
show.
The docking time.
Yeah.
The docking.
Yeah.
That will eventually.
Docking is forever. Once you've docked, you never go
Yeah.
back.
New listeners, don't
Doc.
look it
Doc.
up.
Doc. Doctor
Yeah,
Dave.
whatever you
Yeah.
do, don't Google.
Dock to dock to dock. I'm
Anyway,
surprised we never used that one, but
Yeah.
anyway.
as
go
I
on.
mentioned, I've got 3 more of these available, and I've also mentioned that I've the current version. So
Are you gonna start pitting beers you
Stay
think you
tuned.
like better against it, just to see if they're better?
I don't know. I'm still playing around with that idea, but like I said, like I just mentioned, I still have more of the 2021 to drink through, and I've also got this year's version. So I guess with the whole trying to promote next week, we may see them butt heads.
I will
Oh,
say
okay.
this, just in in conjunction with this, is like if you go to the Spotify app on your phone, you can judge, you can pick which beer you think should win between the two beers, and no one ever does it. Just one person has done it so far. But like, you can go to your phone, go to Spotify.
Wait, what did that one person? Now I'm curious because I didn't.
So you
I
go to
didn't
your
realize
phone. You can just go. Even you, Nick, you can go and you can pick the beer you want to win. You just go. You go to
Well-
the Spotify app. You go to that episode. You'll see the poll, and you can pick the beer that you want to win. And
But you said one person already did this.
well, yeah, one person has voted. There's only like only one person has voted on both polls. I mean, the poll. I've let the poll
Well-
last for a month, so like other people can go and vote. They're up to vote.
What did they vote for?
Yes.
Oh,
thank
so,
you, Jared. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, what he was saying.
So the first episode, the first time this went down, the Voodoo Ranger won, and then I
Okay.
think Waldo won. I think the person picked Waldo as
Okay.
well.
Good call.
But other
Good job,
people
listener.
can pick things, and all you guys can go around and do it too. You guys can do it. You guys can vote in the shit. No, nothing is excluding you guys from going on your fucking phone on Spotify and picking some shit. Even you, Nick. Even you, even you who's already drank. You can go pick. There's nothing
I mean,
that
I
says
don't
you
think it'd
can't.
be fair to, but
I
at the same point,
I think at this point is incredibly. I think it's incredibly fair because no one's doing it.
well, but to be fair, I didn't know that people were voting, and
Oh yeah, people are voting.
it kind of would. It would. Well,
Well,
person is
A
voting.
person
but,
is voting.
But it
Vote
would have been
early,
nice
vote
to
often.
know that somebody voted. I mean,
Right.
I don't know what your idea is for this voting process.
The
like,
voting thing really only is for engagement. I don't really care what it does. I'm just trying to get people to like engage with
Right.
the show.
Uh,
It has nothing to
but
do with.
are you? So are you going to read the results on the following show?
So even
Or, I
if
mean, what-
one beer wins over the other, it doesn't really matter. Your vote is the quintessential vote. I'm just maybe people
never-
if someone says like if like two people to you, like let's say you're one vote, like you're the vote on the show, and two people's like, no, this other beer was better, then I'll let you know that this beer was better. Two people thought this beer was better than your one opinion.
So on the following show, you're gonna. So
Yes. So
Just
next week I will let
hypothetically.
you know. I didn't. You know what? I should have checked, but I was pretty sure I had only seen one vote on the Waldo for the last week's show.
well, I'm just. I guess maybe I'm not kind of clear on what the whole voting thing is. It's not a live voting. It's
No, it's like
So you're gonna follow up.
so last week.
Next week,
Okay, sorry.
and
Yes,
so-
100%. So last week one person voted for the Waldo.
Okay.
So this
Yeah,
week,
this is what it looks like.
one vote. There's one vote.
Oh,
Okay. Hey, that's neat.
So
Yeah.
next week, I'll put up
maybe
the
I'll
poll.
download the app.
I'll put up the vote for this week, and then next week I'll let you know that there was one vote for whatever beer that person chooses.
There's 5 votes for Ecliptic Ice Giant and 1 vote for somebody.
We'll see.
If I vote, it won't be for the ice.
You can
giant.
vote, Dave. Everyone can vote. You guys can vote.
I've had both of those
Right.
beers, and I know which one I'd pick.
Then pick
For
one.
the
Jesus
Waldo's
Christ.
Lagunitas, what does the Waldo refer to? I was thinking, where's Waldo? But then I looked at the artwork, and I'm like, that's not Waldo.
They usually have a little tail around the label, don't they? Like,
Is it like the air? Is like the pilot
Yeah.
Waldo?
And it's spelled differently than Waldo. Where the where's Waldo?
No, we're getting into the weeds here.
I love Where's Waldo. I have a couple of the books on my bookshelf.
In 1971, the Waldos met one afternoon at 4:19 as
These are-
not to be late and set out in a 66 Impala armed with
Uzis.
motherfuckers. You put it upside down.
They drove by and they killed a bunch of people.
What? Oh, treasure map on a journey to find a spot near Point Reyes. They never found the spot, but they kept looking. Okay. The dankest and hoppiest beer ever brewed at Log.
Wait,
You
what?
motherfuckers can't tell a story for.
So the story has nothing to do with the actual beer. It's just something they
Yeah.
made up for marketing.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about
Sounds
right.
like it.
Brewed at Lagunitas. Okay, hoppiest beer ever brewed at Lagunitas was made with the help of the
Oh man,
Waldos.
I'm gonna
They're
vote for
all
fucking Ice
treasure
Giant.
hunters.
I'm personally
know,
gonna go vote for Ice Giant this week, just because this is so
You know what? I already
fucking
declared a winner, and I want to
convoluted.
go vote for Ice Giant.
so fucking convoluted.
Right.
All right. So you picked Waldo.
Maybe that's some Heineken storytelling.
So Waldo
Some
wins
Dutch-
this week. Waldo carries
Yeah.
on to next week. All right. Let's carry on.
Not with their storytelling, that's for sure.
Blah,
Fuck
blah,
off
blah,
with
blah, blah.
that. Sorry.
So carry on from last week's discussion about video game AI. This week we're talking about AI, the movement of AI, and the movement of AI in developing video games. So the use of that technology in developing a video game. Now, I know some of you have touched a video game that was developed by AI. Let's not talk about that quite yet.
No, I wanted to go like for
Yeah.
really like this to me was exactly the topic we're talking about. Was I was looking around on the internet, and obviously Chat GPT is the big hot AI-ness right now.
100%.
Well, someone has
Right.
made Mario GPT,
Huh.
which you ask it a question or ask it to make you a Mario level, and it makes you a level for Mario that AI generated, which I thought was really cool. Anyway, sorry, continue with
That's
your
cool.
interruption, but I
So-
thought that was like a
So-
nice, easy example.
So I wanted to start off the discussion before we get. I wanted to get your opinions on what just at your top level what you think of it. Before we get into that, there's multiple companies using technology to develop video games. So like right now, Ubisoft proudly announces AI is helping write dialogue in their game in like their open world games. So it's not their main quests, but it's if you read through the dialogue, it's like kind of this super
NPCs.
side quests.
Yeah.
The characters. So like, how do you guys feel about the idea that like a job that was once a person's job is now that job is no longer getting paid for by that person. That person is
I
being
want to almost say, like, in some respects, some of this, I smell a slight whiff of bullshit around a lot of what they're putting AI on. What it was, the previous hotness was procedurally generated, and what's AI but a very, very fancy learning procedure.
Right,
that develops
right.
the
But
stuff.
that's it.
So,
That is indeedly it. Right.
Mhm.
so I like, as much as they're announcing AI like it's some new thing. I think it's been going on for a long time. It's not necessarily as new as it's just now. There's a lot. If you put AI on it, it'll be like crypto. When there was a time when everyone was like, you put blockchain on any old crap and people buy it. I kind of get the feeling about AI that there's some of that going on, and that's not to say that this isn't being used to generate games, but it's also like, I think there's a lot of shysters out there, basically, for want of a better description,
So
using it as.
before we get into this minutia of it, like just at a top level, the idea of AI taking someone's job to develop video games. What is everyone's thoughts on that? Jared, go.
When it comes to like writing in games, of course I support the workers, honestly, because I don't want to see positions disappear. There's a little more heart behind it, but it's even saying that, like, side quests a lot of times are just kind of forgotten about, and they're just like last minute feeling. They feel like they're last minute. Nobody really wants to do it. It's just content they're throwing in there. In most titles, not all, but in some circumstances, it might be beneficial. And in other times, it's just getting rid of a seat in the building. It's very circumstantial, I would say.
Yeah.
All right, Nick DeWin, what do you think?
Sounds like self checkout at a grocery store.
Dave, what do you think?
I think some of it's a bit of never mind the quality, feel the quantity. It's like, obviously, if it becomes next to nothing to create all this dialogue, it's like you can just put any old, if it used to cost you $20, $40 an hour for someone to write stuff, you actually gave a shit about what they write. Whereas if it costs like a penny per thing, we're gonna end up with like tons of dialogue and shit that no one gives a shit about. So, I mean, just because you have lots of something doesn't make it good, or just because it's cheap to do something doesn't make it good. So it's kind of like, yeah, it depends on the quality of the AI as much as the quantity, you know.
Aaron, what do you think?
I I don't know. I feel like the idea of AI taking
I mean,
over
Aaron
side
hasn't played a video
quests.
game in like 10 years, so he has no
Oh, shut
idea.
up.
Aaron is an
Nah,
AI.
shut up. No, no. I'm gonna say I honestly think that it's it's a cool concept that AI is writing up side quest stuff like that, especially if it's like something that you didn't realize, like, oh, that's such a good side quest. What wrote that? Oh, fuck, an AI did that. But I feel like until they get to that level of how I explain it, like,
Complexity.
yes, until they get to that level of complexity, there's gonna be really no replacing human writing. Because let's be honest here, you got your really like all the side quests like in games like Mass Effect, Borderlands, God of War, um, not Dead Space, but like Assassin's Creed, The Witcher, stuff like that. Those are all human written side quests, stuff like that. Those are amazing. And just imagine if they had AI writing side quests for games like that. Like, yes, you don't have to do side quests, but the fact that if they're there, like you see this amazing side quest that happen, and then this AI written was like, what the fuck is this? Stupid AI. You know that one from the good
Well, a
human
couple of
written
these
one, I feel
guys
like.
played a game written by AI, which we'll get to in a minute. But
I don't
Okay.
think that was a game written by AI, but we'll get to it when we get to
Yeah,
it.
I couldn't tell anything.
John, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
So I have several thoughts. One, I mean, this is just human history. I mean, there's always been new technology coming out and replacing more manpower technology, and we've always adapted. And yeah, unfortunately, some people may potentially lose out on jobs and income, but at the same
Right.
time, you're creating new jobs with new technology. And I think it's hysterical that Ubisoft thinks they're being cute by announcing that they're gonna have. It just shows like obviously they don't care about their content if they're willing to. I mean, even with Chat GPT, I mean, for me, I think it's pretty advanced, but it's only if you're keeping it simple. I mean, the idea that universities and teachers are very concerned that students could write a whole page report. I don't know how sophisticated AI is at that point to do like a 20-page report on Western Civ, and the student doesn't even proof check it or proofread it. So even if one, it shows Ubisoft really doesn't care about their own content if they're willing to have a still untested system come by and write it for them. And two, someone still has to proofread it and implement it into the system.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're just like, taking a cable from the AI straight into the video game, plugging it in, just do your thing, and then
send it off. We're done.
Act
Right.
surprise.
Let's not hate on Ubisoft right now, because I had homework for these guys, and the game that was released is a Square Enix game. So Square Enix implemented this AI into a game that Jared and Dave played. Kind of. So I don't want to get into the game yet. I don't want to talk about it yet. I'm just saying, like, John, like Ubisoft is a game. They have announced that they're working on it, and they're gonna figure out whatever their work structure is. They're gonna find a way to work that, and I imagine it's gonna be in Assassin's Creed or whatever, and it's gonna be like in like side quests, whatever.
I think
it's also happening. Let me tell you, every developer is thinking,
it is.
and so Square Enix is working on it right now, and they released a free game. I imagine Sony's thinking about it. Like, we're trying to find ways to make our games bigger, but like not have to worry about writers having to write this shit. So it's like, sure, we can pinpoint Ubisoft because Ubisoft is coming for us. Like, yeah, we're testing it out. But Square Enix has already released something. Square Enix has already released something.
I think
you know what I mean?
Hits the nail on the head, though. Really, what it is you can generate all the text in the world, but like each one of us could write a novel. We'd all probably be.
But you're saying that, Dave.
No, wait.
No.
Let me finish the sentence. Let me finish the sentence. I'm not going to tolerate this bullshit.
All right. I'm not going to tolerate either because I'm going to I'm going to sink your ship.
Any one of us could write a novel, but without a good editor, it doesn't mean shit.
All right. Okay, hold on to that shit then, because I feel like Ubisoft would probably check their shit, whereas Square Enix did not check any of their shit when they launched that game.
Well,
the problem with this is
Square Enix.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing about that game. I feel like that game is actually being generated by AI while you're playing it.
No, that game's a game from 1983.
No, it is. No, but if you it is a game from 1983. But then if you read the thing, is that then it's being reconstructed. Yeah, so like none of the dialogue is from. All right, we can talk about it. We can talk about it. So like none of the dialogue is from 1983. So like the game is from 1983, but then the dialogue from the AI
is all. This is a case of putting AI on something that's just like for the new hotness, but it stinks like shit. Because really, what
the reviews are awful.
If you read the Steam thing, which I have up now, it's all about it. The keywords that they talk about here are natural language processing, which is essentially putting the text into something that you would normally use. Natural language understanding, which is voice to text recognition, essentially, which has come on a long way. Look at Siri and all those guys. The speech to text, and then natural language generation. So it's trying to generate natural sounding text. It's basically the AI is taking what you say and trying to.
Did it ever once though, Dave? Did it ever once do anything correct?
No, I played text adventures back in the 80s that were better than this. Yeah. And I have that mindset. I've played these games back in the day where it's like go north and that was wrong, and then you had to type in go up. Or,
you play the original Zork game.
You had to know the language, how to phrase it for it to do it.
Was it Baldur's?
Probably even made better games in BASIC.
Was it ballsy of
Yes.
Square Enix to just release it, even knowing that it was just so fucking fucked?
How it ever got released, I don't fucking know.
I
Because
mean, if
it's a stinking pile of shit.
I know, but do you think like? Why do you think they released it the way it is? No, I
Is
think
it
they
free?
knew it sucked. Yeah, it's free. It's free.
experimental and it's free,
experimental and
they're
it's
just
free.
testing
Why not?
with
I
people.
think maybe it was because they're collecting information from everyone who plays it, and they're going to use that to improve.
Oh, 100%.
Or basically this is to train the AI, because this AI obviously hasn't been trained, because this game was A, no fun, B, didn't understand the words you said.
No,
I tried multiple things, and I just wanted to quote it verbatim, which was what was it? I'm not sure what to say about that.
Oh,
Was the
jeez.
standard reply to
yeah. Well,
for an
as a
AI, it had
simple
one reply when it didn't understand you.
as a simple request, it's like, would you like to go to such and such PD or this place? And you're like, let's go to the PD, police department. And it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then you have to type out like Kursura or whatever the police department was instead. It's like it didn't understand that was part of the phrase that he was asking you. And I got frustrated at that. Just you had to be very specific about what you were
Yeah,
typing
I got frustrated
versus it learning what.
the first
Yeah.
scene. He's like, "Do you want me to check for suspects, check alibis, or check the scene, or whatever it was?" There were like
Mhm.
3 options. And I
Yeah.
did the first one, and he's like, "Oh, this guy is missing." And then I'm like, "Well, can you check the scene?" Except obviously, I put it more
Yeah.
simply.
What are you
Check the
talking
scene.
about?
What are you talking about? And it's like,
Yeah. You
at
you
some
run
point,
circles around it until you figure out exactly what to type.
well,
It's still like
I
classic.
tried 15 different
Yeah.
questions, and I just got the generic reply for each of them, and I was like, well, listen. I mean, I tried to break it down. Who is this guy? Or
Yeah.
return to PlayStation.
Really frustrating.
it
I
was-
deleted
think-
it after
See-
about 15 minutes.
I
Yeah.
think it's
So is the
different.
AI kind of like?
Go ahead.
There is no way. I couldn't
I
tell.
just had a question. Is it kind of like one-dimensional, this AI, or
I
Oh goodness.
I couldn't tell
Like-
any learning.
Yeah.
like
Like,
it's like it's not necessarily learning. It's just it's already decided.
I
I don't
think
even
AI
think
was
that-
used in the game. I don't think AI is in the game.
No,
Yeah.
there can't be.
Even then, it was a
Right.
really terrible parser, because, like I say, I played these text games back when they didn't have graphics, and you had to, there were usually a couple of keywords that you like go, and then direction, or pick up, or so I'm used to kind of simplifying my actions down into 2 or 3 words to do things in these kind of games, because I've played those games back in the day, and let's face it, they weren't very smart.
So just reading about it in this article from Gematsu, it looks like they're mostly going for like the natural language understanding, like talking to it, but it didn't even give me that
okay.
option when I pulled up the game.
No.
Like I didn't even know that was a thing. It's like it's not in your face. It's like here is exactly what we want to do, but you're really gonna have to dig for it.
And I think this is an early, entry. And I feel like the Ubisoft thing is like something. So I don't feel like Ubisoft would release something so sweaty, messy into the world. I feel like Square Enix is fucking around testing shit, and they released it just for shits and giggles. It's not a major game. It's just a shit fucking thing. I feel like Ubisoft using it in their, I feel like, as they tweak it and figure it out, it might work actually pretty well. They're pretty basic quests.
Yeah.
Hey, I need to get some fish. All right, go get some fish. And then
I
we'll
also
get some
think we're
fish, and you'll go get some fish, and they'll come back. Thank you for the fish. And then that'll be that super like unimportant side quest that's not written.
I also
And then
think, though, this game, the problem we had with it was there might have been a really good AI written story under there. We just couldn't get past the interface to get to it.
So
if you know what I mean.
it's funny because the actual like synopsis from the Steam pages this software is a demonstration of natural language
Right.
processing,
100%. Yeah.
which it didn't even give you
Uh,
like microphone options in the game. Like I bitched at it, complained at it, and it didn't even ask me like to use my
Oh,
microphone
I
or
used the
there was
microphone, and
no.
it
You
it was,
did?
yeah, and the voice to
Okay.
text was great. Don't get me wrong. When it,
Huh.
but then Google and Siri have had that pretty much figured out for 5, 10
Yeah,
years.
that's
So it's
been
not like
simple.
that's not the hard part, but it just
right.
gave me the same old stupid. I asked the question 20 different times, and it gave me the same.
All
I
right.
don't know what to
Yeah.
do with that.
Let's talk.
So,
Let's stop talking about this game. We understand that this game is a
yeah,
mess.
it
We
was a hot mess.
understand that I wanted you guys to play it as a you can compare it to some stuff. But like I feel like
It should have been implemented in a
Okay.
different
no,
way.
but it's going to start getting implemented a lot.
All right,
Just
guys.
because Ubisoft. Oh, Aaron's got to go.
Good night, Aaron.
Yeah,
Cheers,
night,
Aaron.
guys. Sorry. Cheers,
Have a good
everybody.
night. Tell the fam
Cheers.
hey.
Sorry. Will do.
Give her a
Sorry, it's
give her a
just.
push for me.
So
Ah,
in another note on the AI though, and I thought this was more interesting and more germane to the topic we're talking about. Someone came up with an AI to generate Doom levels. And then they also used another AI that played the Doom levels, and it played man-made, human-created Doom levels, and then it
Okay.
played the AI-created ones. And it actually had a hard time telling the difference between, like, given the difficulty and all the rest of it, between the AI ones and and obviously Doom's a little out of date
Did they have them?
technologically
Did it
wise.
have the AI create a level though?
There were two separate AIs. So one AI would create levels, and then one AI would play the levels.
This is classic
Oh, so
Doom.
one didn't learn them and then create one.
No, so there was one that was like a chat GPT type thing that would create levels, and then the other one was used to kind of filter the levels to make to get the ones that. And again, it comes down to editing. It's what is good dialogue, what is a good level, what is a good game. It's like
Jesus
gaming's
Christ.
always been an iterative process as well. So that's
There's
part
going
of
to
it.
be a lot of human testing and research about what the AI has done. There's going to be a lot of a trial and error with this, and
But you
like it's
think
not
about
you
it.
can't just click a button and wait for a game to be done.
So
It's going to be
let's like try not to get to the I mean it's
yeah.
tough to like get into the assumption stuff, but like the idea of having an AI ultimately, sure, with this Square Enix game it doesn't quite work. But if you look at Chat GPT and you feed it some stuff, it does give you, like, if you want it to write you a certain thing, like Bryn used Chat GPT to write a mission statement for her drill team, and it came up with a pretty good mission statement, and then
Yeah,
she just
first
kind of
draft
tweaked
at
it.
least.
The
Yeah.
first draft was pretty good, and so like to think that so whatever Square Enix was using for that game didn't quite work.
Yep.
But like I don't know what AI they're using or what their AI is, but the idea is it is coming, guys. It is
Oh yeah.
starting to work. How do we feel about the fact of playing games where AI is starting to touch that? Are we okay with the fact that humans are going to start touching it less?
Yeah, I suppose it depends on the type of game in some respects, because it's like if it's a story-based game, maybe I feel a little more uncomfortable about that than if it's I don't know, some
Fortnite.
kind of like, yeah, some Fortnite or Space Invaders type game, not that we play those kind of games much anymore, but and then it
Well,
also depends on, are they just using it to expand the game, or is the whole game created by AI? But in the end, if the AI can't tell, how can we tell? I mean,
What do you think, John?
I'm okay with AI being involved in video game creation. I think story wise, it's going to take a long time for AI to differentiate because it's not even the quality of the story. I think it just depends. I mean, you could have a really good, let's say, father and son story, but if a whole bunch of really great father and son stories come out at the same time from different developers, it's just going to get old. So I think it's going to be a hard time for AI to learn what a good story is, but also the timing of releasing those type of stories.
And if the story from the team, so the AI gets involved and it takes the team of 5 down to 3. How's that?
Well, and then who? I mean, and it's just it'd be interesting to see how they credit the AI because
So
let's take
you're more
ChatGPT.
you're more concerned about the crediting of the AI than the loss of 2 jobs.
You don't want to hurt the AI's feelings. That could be
Clearly.
Well, I'm
bad.
just. I mean, that's just a reality. I mean, new technology, like I said earlier, new technology is going to get rid of jobs, and it's also going to create
I
jobs.
mean, I've seen them paint and do like spackle in bathrooms. It's pretty good.
I think the AI the thing that's gonna do is like all the assets in the game. That's gonna be, they're all gonna.
So it's inevitable. You guys are saying it's inevitable.
Oh, of course.
Of
Yeah, it's gonna
course.
happen.
I think it's going to be more useful in level creation. I think that's where it's really going to excel.
And
And-
graphic
and-
design as well, like graphic design level creation. That's
Will
like
it speed up the do you obviously
it will.
I think
Yes,
I think it
obviously
will.
it will speed
Take
up.
the example of
Well,
Chat. Bryn's example, coming up with a great rough draft and then she edited it. I think it'll be the same thing where they come up with the AI comes up with a great first draft of the level, and then the developers go through and tweak it.
Well, the one game dev guy I know, I went to school with him a long time ago. He's excited for it because there's a lot of just basic coding that you have to do. Like every time you make a game, there's basic coding that needs to be done. And Chat GPT or whatever AI program you implement in this will do it for you. And it just gets rid of a lot of steps. It's just all monotony and coding. And that's
Yeah,
what a lot of
but it's-
game dev people are excited for, is just getting rid of the monotony.
So I
I'm
know
also-
talking with Jason I mean, Jason's not here. He hasn't been on the I thought he was going to be he really wanted to do this episode, I thought. And I was like, yeah, but anyway, he's friends with a couple game developers, and one of his game developer friends was like, we're working on a game. We have AI working on the game, and it's super impressive. There's super cool technology going on. So there's something going on there that I think a lot of developers are looking at, and it's like, oh, this is super cool. So I think there is a very cool element that is coming with it, but at the same time, I'm still concerned. Like,
You see, I think you're wrong. I think what will happen is more games will get made. So yeah, there's only two
because that's what we
developers.
need is more games because we
Yeah,
don't
Well,
have
no,
enough
but
games
true.
right now.
I think
Mhm.
instead, so maybe there's only 2 developers instead of 4 on one game.
Maybe.
But those other 2 developers will go off and use the AI to make another game. I mean, that's really what it'll come down to. Is it'll probably just end up as it
The-
becomes more efficient to
The
produce more games.
simplification of
you'll
game
have-
writing.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
you'll
story
have more
doesn't.
people make
This,
games.
But
this
you're
story
fine.
of.
Okay, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say this story of technology and AI is
A tale as
the
old as
basic
time.
story itself.
Tale
Yeah,
as
basically,
old
yeah.
as
Like
time.
it's something that's almost similar to um, automation in car manufacturing. Like I mentioned before, just trying to be a smartass with like self checkout. It's it's just kind of more of an evolution things versus
Self-driving trucks.
like
But
Natural progression.
here's
Yeah.
my argument
yeah,
against
I mean,
it. Here's my
self-driving trucks are still going to need somebody in the cab to sit here and
Sure.
monitor.
But here's
like,
my
the
argument
vitals and
against it.
stuff.
My
So,
favorite
the
my
job
favorite
itself kind of changes.
my
It just. I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
my favorite type of game is like Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2 is a good example. Or Witcher 3. Those games and their dialogue choices already feel slightly stilted because of the way they're built into the game. And I can only imagine that they're not going to get better by AI. So you need a human writer to plot out that story, that spider like story. I don't feel
No, you need a human editor.
you maybe but I don't
That-
feel.
that's what I'm saying. We could all
Where the
write
job will
novels,
change.
but
I just don't
even
feel like
like
it's going to
Stephen
be that
King
good.
has an editor.
Or you could also have a million or however many monkeys bashing out a typewriter, and eventually they're going to type out
All right,
Shakespeare.
all right.
So
go ahead.
that what you just talked about, Ian, is what I've not wanted in a game from AI is where you have to create your own dialogue for them to respond to. Like instead of
Yeah.
multiple choice, you actually have to come up with your own dialogue and they will automatically respond to it. That's many, many years away, but that's going to happen. And I don't know if I want that. I don't like talking when I'm playing a single player game. Like, there's old games where you have to yell out commands to some army soldier or something like that. But like if you're having like a full on RPG and you have to respond to everything in different ways and appropriate ways, whatever the AI determines, that I don't know if I want gaming to go that way.
Incel the game. How you doing, milady?
Yeah. He's like, should I put an accent to this? No, you may not.
Am I going to buy the neckbeard DLC?
Yeah.
The inverse of your argument, Ian, though, is what if you have a small game studio that has one or two developers, and
No,
they're
I
able
think
to
I
use
think I think
AI
Dave.
to
I think
boost their
Dave.
productivity?
You can argue against but I think Dave made a great point. It's like, yeah, you have the AI do it, and then you have human editors. I think Dave countered my argument perfectly. So like, yeah, you could have the AI stuff, and then you have two human guys, and then they come through and they like just make sure they go through it. I get it. I 100%
But from
get it.
Ian's
You get
point is like you
you
go
don't
down the
have to
road
you
and
don't
the
have to pay
editors
the
become
AI. You don't
AIs.
have to pay the AI. You cut your work service in quite a bunch, and then you start
Well, they
making
may
games.
license the AI. It may get to the point where
Oh
these
yeah,
companies start
100%.
licensing.
Oh, yeah.
Or these indie guys that spend 5 to 10 years writing just like their one first game that they've been just trying to figure this shit out. They're like, oh, I just need to talk to this thing and input like what I want, and it's gonna do it for
So
me.
now we've
Cool.
only really
some cool stories could come out.
we've only really focused on stories and scripting. What about the art of it? I mean, we look at
Well,
we look
that's-
at we look at
yeah.
we look at
That's a
we
different
look at the
bug, yeah.
music. We look at the music that's going on right now, and you can like feed music and ideas into music and creating music with this some other person's voice. It's not that person's voice. You mix images and create new images. Like the whole idea of like feeding art, the idea of art, and feed it into an AI to create visuals. Let's move away from the story. Let's move away from
sound
that
and
shit.
visuals. Yeah.
Where does that leave us with the art aspect of a video game? Like, how do we feel about that? Like, we know we're taking artists out of it, and we're just saying, "Hey, computer, make art." I think.
Well, I think the interesting thing will be like that Ed Sheeran case this week, where he was, sued for copying someone else's song, because an AI is only as good as the information it learns on. And
But it's gonna get
if
better,
you-
Dave.
yeah, no, but I mean, but you've still got to take the information and it, if it looked at what was popular in the top 10 records for the last 50 years and then created a song based on that.
You know what's
It's
crazy? You know what's
It's
crazy?
probably a pretty good case.
You know what's
for it to
crazy
get
on that
sued.
though? Just having spent it was a couple weeks ago. I went in the recording studio with the band, and this is a professional producer. He's worked with like a lot of major bands actually. Anyway, and recording, like, you could not be able to sing. You could not be able to sing, and there is a plugin, and the AI, like the auto tune nowadays, in that AI, like, you're
It's
talking
like
about AI.
auto-tune, but you don't press the buttons; it just does it automatically
it's
for you.
it's like AI in the face swap, or the AI in the thing, like the thing that like just like takes the knowledge and like makes it. It's like you don't have to be good at fucking anything, but if you have the money and the wherewithal to do it, it's kind of mind-boggling. So like,
Hasn't that always been the
even
case,
within the
though?
band, he like, let's say he sings a thing, and like one note is just kind of off a little bit. Just take the AI and just pops it back up, and it's fucking fine. and like you'll never know. No one will ever know. Back in the day, you might hear it, but you're like, that's like little. That's just salty. It's just a salty live performance. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's the
It's
human aspect.
it's yeah. We're gonna start losing the human aspect. Some of the stuff that I find incredibly interesting as an artist, and when I listen to artists or watch artists, we're gonna start losing that stuff. Is
No,
that
even more,
important? Is that
even
important, or
more
does no one
concerning to
care?
me. No, Ian, the counter argument to that, not counter argument to that, the more worrying thing to me is that the AI is going to become smart enough to bake that shit in.
Well, maybe.
Just like to give it that little
Well, then
tweak.
I'll be dead by that time. But
I know, but that's. I mean,
I
there's
get
no
what
reason.
I 100% what you're saying, but isn't some of that shit important? Isn't some of that human error important, or do we not care?
I think in the end we're training these machines, and they might not be perfect today, but one day they will be.
Well, guess what? He was a flaw.
Not perfect. They'll
He
be
was a
better
flaw.
than us. So
I don't know. I was asking one question and I pivoted to something, but art. I guess art. I guess I wanted to go back to the art thing.
Art, where it's
Do we feel
like all the art that we have is blended together to make different art?
John, go. Do you feel like AI is going to make art irrelevant?
No, I think. I mean, there was a recent. I don't know if you guys saw, but Tom Brady was suing these two comedians because they took AI. Because Tom Brady came out and said he wanted to be a stand-up. So these two comedians
He came out and said he was gay.
Huh.
No, he came out and said that he wanted to be a stand-up comedian, and these two comedians fed AI, like I guess Tom Brady audio samples, so it got enough of his voice, and then the AI released an hour-long Tom Brady comedy special, and he's suing them for it now for
defamation.
That's even better.
Yeah, it's something weird like that. Oh, it's a cease and desist. He sent out a cease and desist letter. But it's on YouTube. Just do Tom Brady 1 hour AI special, and it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny just because you can tell the AI doesn't have much comedic timing. It's just talking in a monotone voice, and it just a punchline, and then immediately goes into something else. So it's like
next sentence.
Bam, bam.
I wish I had money to just waste on AI to AI create episode blah 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 of Couch Co-op podcast, and then it would just create all of our because all of our voices we've doing this for so long that they have our voices. They have enough of this shit. They could pull shit from news, and they could just make the AI could make an episode, and I want to know what that episode sounds like.
All right, you start doing the work for that, Ian, and we'll release that.
But what I want to know is where all because people are pulling AIs out of their asses, and I just don't know where are they going. Where are they going for all these AI programs, and then where are they dumping this information? That's what seems weird to me. That people are like the AI music or the AI art. Right. Like I see it generated. I haven't heard AI music, but I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know where it's coming. Like what programs people are using to generate this stuff.
Nerds. I will say this. Justin the other day texted me and he was like, "Hey, bro, what do you know about AI?" And I'm like, I mean, I know everything about AI. I just said, I probably know the same thing as you do, and then period. And I go, fucking around with ChatGPT ? It's like, I don't know. I was like, I'm not like a fucking AI programmer. I don't know anything about AI. What the fuck? I know everyone I can download an app and I can make some pictures and make a photo, and the AI makes a photo, or I ChatGPT or whatever. Or even face swap apps are AI apps ultimately. I mean, they're just pulling that shit together.
I think you can go to OpenAI, and they have a bunch of APIs, and basically with a bit of skill, you can train it on a subset of information that you want to train it on to kind of cook your own, if that makes sense. So
interesting.
So you can tell it to look at the whole of the internet, or maybe you just look. It's kind of like Google, you can just say, look at anything that has the word space in it or
But
whatever,
but ultimately, Dave, I mean, my question is, any of these apps that you feed information in, you're basically feeding the AI information,
Yep.
and then it creates something. So like, it didn't know, like, I mean, obviously, it's probably listened and watched all our episodes at this point. But like, if it didn't, let's say, and you were like, you wanted to feed it some information about it, so you fed it our video, it's learning us. So it's like,
Yeah.
you're
It's
like, hey,
Dave
create
always
this, and then
interrupts
it's like
me.
it's feeding information into them, and it's like, oh, and then like, I feel like that's how those apps work.
Have we determined if AI wasn't listening to the show recently
Huh.
and downloading and
I mean, there's no way to determine that. I feel
No,
like
because there's
I
no
just
new
feel
show.
like because of the news lately, and like a lot of the word out there in the out there in the world is like, AI is probably watching your shit or checking out your shit.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But like I said at the start of the episode, I also feel like there's a lot of AI is the latest tech bandwagon, and there's a lot of stuff that isn't AI that is being sold as AI. And that's not to say that I don't think it doesn't exist, but wasn't there some like soda company or coffee company that was doing the blockchain,
Right.
and it's kind of like that kind of bullshit. So they all jump on. So whereas there's probably only the amount of computing power required to do it correctly, there's probably only a few places that can afford that amount of power.
Right, because I feel like they were talking. I don't know what company that was actually looking into like developing a game solely with AI, and they were saying it would be so expensive to like really solely do it with AI, because having to develop the software to get the AI to do what it needed to do, no one's done it before, so it's not in place. So like, you can have an AI do something, and then you have to filter its shit, but to make it actually do a whole thing is expensive as fuck, because that's not in place right now.
Yeah, I feel
So
like for a video game, an ideal thing would be like you have a graphic artist that produces some billboards, and then the AI takes those and remixes them into like 100 different ones. So when you're going around the city, you see a different one every time. Maybe the designer builds 4 or 5 main types of building to
right.
give that flavor. So like we talked about, oh gosh, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
there's going to be several like AI modules that people have to pay for to do specific things.
But
It's
to have an
it's
AI
gonna it's
just
not gonna be like an all
solely
in one.
but have an AI just solely do something that doesn't exist right now.
No, that's not going to.
Or,
Yeah,
That's too
well,
much.
it will at some point, Jared. Just
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
dead.
way down. Yeah,
I'll
but
be dead. Jared will be dead. His daughter will be
yeah.
like fighting against the imperial senate, and
Yeah.
it'll be a different time.
yeah. I feel like the ideal use for an AI right now would be a game like BioShock, where you wanted to create a world that had a very distinct look, and you would feed it, you know, architecture and design to kind of generate that look that you wanted, if you know what I mean.
But underground.
Well, I'm not even saying underground, but BioShock is one of those games that does have a very distinct kind of atmosphere in the game, and an art style, and I think that's where AI will probably take its biggest foothold in the next 5 years, is to generate the assets in the game and maybe some of the text, but I think it'll be a while before it.
I guess my final question is just to kind of wrap this up. I mean, this is a massive topic, but like, I guess we'll go around the table here. Just kind of the final. Is a game completely generated by AI something you guys want to play? Jared, go.
I'd be interested in samples and demos and stuff like that. I mean, it's going to be a long time before like a completely AI generated game comes out, but just one thing I've always liked about games is progression and different things and change and all that, and that's kind of natural progression. And I'll check it out.
All right. Nick, a game completely generated, created by AI. Is that something that interests you?
Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, I was trying to check it out, but yeah, I'd just be interested to see because I mean, at the very least, it could be so bad it's good. But at the same point, it's just it would just kind of be interesting to kind of see how the whole development of AI has kind of progressed in terms of just kind of like a whole big picture scenario of both storytelling and kind of like creating the artwork. I mean, just see. I mean, just kind of seeing like what role it ends up playing in terms of just kind of the whole creation process. If it's just there to um, there to kind of like just I'm sorry, I'm struggling to like form words, but just
I
like
love it
take
when you
care of like
struggle.
the more tedious processes of it to where it allows the actual human to kind of focus more on the creative aspect of things. But I mean, that's not quite the question
It's
because
kind
you
of
want
no, it is kind of like
Just waiting for the
without the human.
Geth to make their
Oh
own
my god,
games, right?
Dave, without the
yeah.
human aspect, are you interested in video games?
I would say we've already played it.
You
It
think
just
so?
wasn't. It wasn't called AI. It was called procedurally generated, and it was No Man's Sky. I mean,
And you
the
didn't play
only
that much, did you, Dave?
no, I didn't particularly enjoy it, but you guys did.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what's the difference really in the end between procedurally generated and AI
Oh my god,
generated?
he's going hard. Dave's going hard.
I mean, yes, they're both the different ways. I understand
So
like
you're
one's
saying that we're
trained
into
on a
it, but
subset.
you wouldn't be into it. So you would fight the rebellion against the AI, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. I didn't. No Man's Sky just wasn't the game for me, and that's fair enough.
I'd
But
I'd play it on Game Pass, but I wouldn't buy it.
I'm saying that No Man's Sky is not
No,
very
okay,
different to what an AI
you're right,
generated game might be
100%.
like,
Yeah,
or at
But
least in the near
you're
totally.
future.
not against it, but are you
I'm not
open to the
against it.
future? Are you open to the future of that?
It depends on the game. I mean, I've played lots of games that I like and lots of games I didn't like, and there's no rhyme the reason
All right.
Yeah.
really that some games just don't do it for me and others do, and we're all that way. So it depends on the game.
All right.
Yeah.
John, how do you feel listening to all these people talk about shit and robots and procedurally generated? Are you done with video games?
No, no. I think it's gonna be hard to define what's completely a complete AI game. Um, because when I think of a complete AI game, I think of a game built from the ground up. But there's always going to be people involved. You know, someone has to come up with the game engine, um, and you have to have the engineers and editors, writers. I mean, I know we've talked about in the past about even voice acting when you could take AI can replicate voices, but that's still, I mean, we've all heard AI voices and it's close, but you can still tell it's not that isn't the person actually speaking. Like there's just it's stilted. It's still not as smooth as organic human speech. So I mean, I would play it, sure, but I think I would play it as a demo. I think it's going to be a really long time before you could have a quality AI game.
Yeah.
I think I think you'll
I,
end up with like Unreal 5 engine. You'll end up with AI Engine 5. Yeah,
I
Ian doesn't
think
get to talk.
Can I talk?
I think old Lionsgate Studios Project Milo will become a reality from
Milo and
Lionhead
Otis? The
Studios.
Milo and Otis?
No. Remember the old Kinect
Uh,
video of Project Milo? That little boy that Peter Molyneux was talking to. He was just way ahead of
I'm
his
not into
time.
little boys, Jared.
But whole conversations with the person with real reactions and stuff like that is kind of where I'm coming from. That I just thought of that like old Kinect demo. and that kind of thing. I was actually thinking of like being in VR and the people around me reacting to me in real time based on my conversations and dialogue and whatever, just some last second thoughts.
I just wanted to get my opinion before Jared's last thoughts.
No, I've got something more to say, Ian.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Ian, you just have to wait, Ian.
Holy fuck! Fuck my thoughts.
ahead, Ian.
I will say this. As someone who has grown increasingly disinterested in video games, just the staleness of the human aspect of video games, I don't know that the AI is going to increase my interest in video games. I understand that AI is going to make the development of video games probably easier, but I don't know that it's going to increase my interest in video games. And so, would an AI video game make what I want to play, completely AI developed video game, would I want to play that? At this point, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think AI is centered around the thoughts and ideas of what's come before, and I'm looking for something new. And until that AI becomes more like observing and awake beyond itself, I do not think an AI developed video game is going to be any better than Jedi Survivor or Redfall or it's sad. I was talking to Ryan the other day. Most video games just don't interest me anymore. That's why Meet Your Maker was something interesting to me. It was different. It did some different things, but playing these games, I'm just it's just the same old shit. And it's the same old shit that I could create mindlessly in my brain. It's the same old shit that an AI could create. The story, no problem. There's no reason an AI couldn't create, if you gave it all these stories, it could create a facsimile story and create a video game. But would I want to play it? Probably not so much. And so I'm glad I'm close to the end of my life. So I don't know. I'll probably play an AI game at some point in my life, but I don't have much faith in it right now. I don't have much faith in its originality right now. Will it create a game like Dave says? Sure, 100%. Yeah. The originality of it, I don't believe in the originality of it at all. So anyway, Dave had something else he wanted to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I agree with you 100% because I feel like, to circle back on it, will I play a game? Probably. Am I excited by the prospect of AI-generated games? Not really. I look at pop music and I imagine if you trained an AI on the top 10 songs, you'd end up with a very bland world when, you look at some of the music that comes out and some of the music that became popular music, it's not always, it comes from left field without that constant, regeneration and that spark. It just becomes a bland series of samples that are sampled over and over again. That's
art comes from sacrifice
death.
and suffering, and an AI will never really know what sacrifice and suffering is. So.
Yeah, I see the really big companies doing stuff like that, and I think the smaller companies will kind of stray away from just artificially creating everything.
Anyway.
I could only imagine Call of Duty coming out every year.
One can almost think
much limited amount of people.
One can almost think at this point Fortnite is AI generated because it's
forever.
Or Warzone. Call of Duty has been AI generated from the beginning. Let's be honest. That's just a garbage game. Anyway,
here's this thing again with the same maps.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are thinking we're talking shit about AI, but human beings have been doing it to make money.
Yeah, the creativity is long since passed from that title.
Let's be honest. Let's say Sony is cranking out some original ideas, but if Activision Blizzard is Diablo and Call of Duty, AI has no problem carrying on those franchises till the end of time. No problem, because that shit has not changed.
Yeah, FIFA 2024.
100%.
Exactly. Just change the names and update the graphics
Dude,
a little.
FIFA doesn't have to do
computers are more
anything.
powerful.
Exactly. FIFA just you just
Roster
need to
update.
feed the roster updates. It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yep, the AI improves the graphics a little bit every time the hardware gets a bit more
Yeah.
powerful,
Right?
and you're done.
Right.
Min max.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. The couch co-optionals really quick. Jared, couch co-optional?
A couple of quick ones.
Oh, a couple.
Demon Slayer season 3 is on Netflix now, and Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 is really good. I
Oh,
would
you watched
recommend
it. I hear
strongly.
it's good. I
yes.
hear it's good.
Yes,
Sweet.
I enjoyed every second.
Nice.
And like most Guardians movies, it's very busy all the way through.
Here's pretty brutal
with
too.
fun
Pretty
moments.
violent.
Yeah, it has dark moments.
Yeah. Did you take your kids to it, or no?
No.
Nick to win. What do you got?
Oh, just this little thing. Canby Brew Fest kicks off on Friday.
That was mine.
Goes to Saturday.
Stole it.
You may. Yeah. Apparently, Ian's gonna be there. I might be there. I don't know.
What? You're
I
totally
haven't
gonna be
decided
there.
yet.
Suck a dick. You're gonna be there.
You can hang out with part of the couch if you're in Canby area.
Yeah.
Like this couch. Right
Yeah.
here.
Send your mom, John. We'll go hang out with her.
Yeah. Yeah. She can comment in person.
That'd be an awesome photo. That'd be so cool.
It would be great.
Tori, if you're
Wait,
listening
where do
to
you
this, get
live?
in
Where do you
contact with them.
live? Where do you guys
Yeah,
live in
Mom.
Canby versus where Nick DeWin lives? I mean, he lives right
They
off
live
this.
out in the country.
Oh,
I'm
you
not going to
live-
dox my parents.
Well, Nick lives
not that
right
big
off
a
the main
place.
strip.
I
so-
probably drove past his parents' house on the way to the Tulip Festival today.
Your mom's name is Tori.
Yeah.
Tori, we'll see you there Saturday. We'll be there all day, getting fucked up.
Yeah, don't want to be around them, or at least
Yeah,
him
you
when he's
do.
drunk.
You
So
totally wanna
just,
be. You
just
totally
an
be on
away
the
photo.
episode. We're gonna be
Yeah,
recording
Mother's Day
episodes.
weekend. Yep. That's what we need.
Alcohol only makes me more charming.
You just
so
see
Yeah.
this,
Both
like,
of us.
Say hi.
Both of
you
us.
just see
charming.
this lady coming up to you, and she's like, "Milkman."
Yeah. Son of milkman. No. Dave, what you got? Couch co-optional.
Oh, I got a new LP yesterday with Ian, Steve Wilson, and if you haven't
Nice.
listened to any Steven Wilson, if you haven't listened to any of his stuff, it's pretty good. And Porcupine Tree is his other band that's
You've
Oh,
talked
okay.
about before, actually. You mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah. I've listened to Porcupine Tree because of you, and I dug it,
Yeah.
yeah.
kind of more modern-ish Pink Floyd, kind of carrying that torch forward.
Yeah,
So
cool.
JPK. What do you got? He's looking at his
Son.
phone. He doesn't know what he's got, but he's looking at his phone.
I was making a note for Porcupine Trees.
He
they-
was asking his AI what he should recommend.
actually,
Uh,
all of JPK's words are AI generated.
AI generated. I'd recommend go watch that Tom Brady comedy special. It's pretty funny. Like it's interesting. And then they also have AI artwork of Tom Brady, and apparently like there's a lot of AI artwork of Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Brady like in hot tubs together. They're pretty funny to look at. So
Is that
it's on
like the
YouTube.
Kirk and Spock?
Yeah, but it's on YouTube, and it's it goes for an hour, but listen to it for 10 minutes and you get the gist of it. But it's
Is it
funny.
all sports ball jokes?
It's just like he talks about his family somewhat, like and then he talks about it's a lot of like football stuff.
Yeah.
But and it's also him just being like an alpha male too, so it's pretty.
so good.
It's entertaining.
All right.
Ian.
Well, you know what? You know what's funny about this is
How
like
about you, Ian?
I haven't heard many people talk about it. Like the new season dropped, and people have been fucking silent. No one's talked about it.
Sweet Tooth.
No.
Ted Lasso.
Yes, 100%. I'm talking about Ted Lasso. I love Ted Lasso. I loved Ted Lasso from the beginning. I was a Ted Lasso champion. I told everyone to watch it. I was during
And
the
you weren't wrong.
during the fucking pandemic when it started. Like that show dropped during the pandemic, and I was like, fucking Ted Lasso, and then Ted Lasso, and then I've been kind of. The third season just dropped, and no one said anything about it. And like Brendan and I have just been kind of waiting, and then we finally like binged the first 8 episodes that are out, and it's so charming and wonderful and awesome. And I love Ted Lasso, and it's sad that it's going to be the last season, and I already miss it. Apple TV Plus, get it? It's like cheap. Just get it, or just it's for a month and just
Buy a new
binge
Apple device.
it. Yeah, buy an Apple device and just binge
Yeah,
it.
that's how we had it.
It's one of the greatest fucking shows, and all those characters are fucking awesome. I don't know. It makes you feel happy when you watch it. And
Yeah, if you want a pick me up of a show, of all the shows I've watched in a long time, that was the most like you felt good after watching it. But not like in a sick way either.
no, it's just like it's like
sometimes
incredibly
shows are too
positive. It's
sweet,
incredibly positive. And so Ted Lasso. I'm actually kind of curious why everyone's been so quiet on it. Like maybe it's because this is the 3rd episode, but like everyone's just been like no one talks about it. But it's still just the same quality of positive, fun, awesome, and I love everybody, and I don't know, I just really enjoy it, and I I think there's a few more episodes that are supposed to come out, but
Also, it's still dropping right now.
yeah, it's still dropping. I thought it was all out, but it's not all out yet. But it's such a good show. I love it. Ted Lasso. Anyway, all right.
Cool.
Jared, have you watched it?
No,
Oh
I don't
my
have Apple
God.
TV Plus anymore.
Jared, go on to fucking Plex. I'm pretty sure Justin has it on his Plex. Fucking
All right,
watch it.
I
Jared.
might check it out. Yeah.
No, don't check it out. Fucking watch it.
Absorb it.
Nick, have you watched it?
I have not.
Oh my God, John, have you watched it?
No.
I don't have Apple TV.
Take that,
so-
Ian. Your recommendations. The couch does
Dave,
not watch.
Dave, how good is this show? Like ultimately, like just the
I
first,
believe it. I
just
do.
the first
I do.
season, is
just the first
perfect.
season. Let's not talk about the other season. Just like the
The
first
second
season.
season is just as solid. There's 1 or 2 episodes where the story slows
It's
down.
crazy.
A
It's
bit,
weird,
but
it's
yeah.
awesome.
But
But no,
it-
just
it's really good.
it's
In fact, the only thing I've seen about the 3rd season is that the episodes went from being half an hour to like almost an hour, and I
Oh,
could see
yeah.
maybe that.
no,
like-
it doesn't affect it.
That would slow
No,
me
it
down.
doesn't affect it. It doesn't affect it because once you're into it, you don't care about that shit.
Needless to say, it's the only TV series in recent memory that I can think of watched twice. Like I
Oh.
watched it on my own, and then I watched it with my wife again, and I actually enjoyed it just as much the second time. Because I've watched a few things twice. and
I've
I'm like,
watched the first season twice because it's so uplifting.
Yes.
It's so just so that good.
Yeah. When the pandemic was at its worst and I was feeling pretty bad, I think Ian recommended it to me, and my wife had just got an Apple phone, so we had like a few months of it
Sweet.
for free. So I watched it, and it was awesome. And then the second season was just as solid, to be quite honest, which was quite surprising because quite often these things, it's like first season, we used all our great ideas, but
And the third season is the last season because they pretty much pan it as like this is it. So like it ends. So anyway. All right. Let me let's get us out of here. Let me
let's land this plane.
John Patrick Kelly, would you like to say anything crazy just to wrap it up just because it's funny that to have you just say some shit? Did you
Yeah, I got it.
No, wait, I have a funny thing like the last episode I popped in on. Did you have anything at that episode at the end that you wanted to say that you didn't?
No.
Okay.
No, I said everything I wanted to say.
Do you have something you
You're
want to
not
say
my
tonight?
father.
Yeah, I have an outro for tonight too.
Wait. So does your outro have web information? So should I say my outro first and then you go, or should
Yeah,
you
you
go?
can give all the social info.
Oh, okay.
info.
Let me go.
Instead of me being like, "Are we on Facebook?" I can't remember.
All right. I want to thank you all for listening and remind you to leave feedback at thecouchcoopshow@gmail.com. You can also find our socials. We're at Couch Co-op Shows on all the socials. All one word, no hyphen. Instagram,
baby, yeah.
Facebook, Twitter. I want to thank Jared, who's not here, Nick, who's not here, Dave, and
David,
John,
unfortunately, is still here.
for joining me here on the couch for Couch Co-op Show. I'm Ian, reminding you to please be excellent to each other.
Wild Stallions. And now for the epic JPK.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Couch Co-op Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on the role of AI and gaming and got some great insights into what's new and exciting in the world of video games. As always, we want to hear from you. What have you been playing lately? Do you have any thoughts on the topics we covered today? Let us know in the comments or shoot us a message on social media. We love hearing from our listeners and gaming community. And don't forget to tune in next time for more gaming fun and shenanigans. Until then, keep on gaming, and may your co-op adventures be legendary!
And let me play
Epic.
the opening.
Whoop.
Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.